everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand as Manchester United go into the international break on a win 3-0 at the King Power Stadium as Manchester United gain a bit of momentum. Leicester City, happy hunting ground for Manchester United so far this season. We've played them multiple times, win, 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 win. And goal droughts are over for Rasmus Højlund, they're over for Hojlund and Garnacho, and of course, Bruno Fernandes apparently is the problem, you know. I'm going to just go straight to Ricky on this. Bruno Fernandes is breaking all sorts of records, Ricky. Are you liking what you're seeing with him playing in that deeper role under Ruben Amorim? Do you think he's improving? Are you liking him in that position more?
I do think he's playing better, but I don't take any heed of goals and assists. I really don't. I like it the way that he's definitely keeping the game more simple. He's definitely playing better. Still, obviously, look, every player has, makes errors. So he still makes a few errors. He still makes a few poor decisions, but nowhere near as many as he was doing. And look, these last two games, obviously, a lot of people. I've had messages of people, Bruno again. Do you know what I mean? He scored the third goal in a 3-0 win against Leicester City, and they're absolutely all over him. It isn't a big deal.
Can I ask a question though?
The other day he gets 2 pens. Then they get a man sent off.
Well, he's the one who's doing it.
Then they get a man sent off, and we're playing against 10 men at Old Trafford, and we're already leading. And they're trying to get back in the game. They're putting loads of players up front. We get a goal on a breakaway. It happens to be Bruno who gets put in, and he's got a one-on-one with the keeper, and he scores it. Do you know what I mean? People need to grow up. It's no big deal. It really isn't a big deal. That's the last 2 games. Obviously, the game before that against Arsenal, I thought he played better in that game. Everyone's on my case for these 2 games, in which he scored. But he played better against Arsenal. That's a proper tough game, and he looks after the ball better.
I just want to come in with this. I can understand your point of view, but...
No, you can't.
I can understand your point of view, I just don't agree with your point of view. He's the first Manchester United player to score 50 plus and assist 50 plus goals in the Premier League since Wayne Rooney. Goal involvements in all competitions per season: 2019-20, 20. 2020-21, 46. 21-22, 23. 22-23, 27. 23-24, 28. And so far this season, 24-25, 31. How can you do that back to back to back to back? You've got to admit that he's a quality player, surely. How is he in the top of all of these lists? How is he the first player for Man United to reach 50 goals, 50 assists since Wayne Rooney? How is he now on the most assists in Man United Premier League history, just below Eric Cantona on 50? So he's going to surpass Eric Cantona. He's also going to surpass Paul Scholes.
I mean, he's the second most in Premier League history.
Not
for Man United.
No, for United.
For United, yeah.
For United, yeah.
No, he's not. He's not.
No, not second. I said he's just below Eric
just
Cantona.
below Cantona.
So it's
Beckham.
Ryan Giggs first, then it's Wayne Rooney, David Beckham, Paul Scholes, Eric Cantona, Bruno Fernandes.
Okay.
That's where he's at.
It's not bad company, is it?
And look at the teams that Eric Cantona played in. I mean, the team that Paul Scholes played in, the team that David Beckham played in, the team that Wayne Rooney played in, the team that Ryan Giggs played in, and obviously all of them players are top
The reason they were
players.
miles better teams is because all the players kept the ball simple, move it round, move it round, move it round, move it round. Bruno in that team would spoil it. He'd spoil the flow of the game.
But you've got to give him some credit for what he's done.
No, he'd get less.
He's playing better players.
He would do. He would. He would
spoil
thrive in
the
a
flow.
better team, Ricky. He would. You've got to give him credit for this. You've got to.
I saw a stat.
For getting goals and assists.
He's just below Eric Cantona in the all-time assists for Man United.
I saw a stat that said
he's going to surpass him.
Only Kevin De Bruyne has more assists than Bruno since he joined United in the top 5 leagues. Only Kevin De Bruyne. That means he's got more than Thomas Muller, got more than Son, he's got more than all these top players across
I'm in
Europe.
Postecoglou's court.
I know what you're going to say here. I know, but
he's a manager who's he's not managing. Well, he's managing a massive club now, but he's made his way up, and he's had a decent career as a football manager. He said that I'm not interested in assists. I'm completely disinterested in them. It's a worthless stat.
What about the goals then?
Okay,
can I just ask a question here, right? You just said, and I was going to pick you up earlier a few minutes ago, you said, I take no heed of goals and assists.
Especially
What's
assists.
it all about then? You said I take no heed of goals and assists.
Because
from Bruno's point,
if you look at a player on that list, like two players, Paul Scholes and David Beckham. If you get your list up, Beth, I don't think either of them are far in front of him for assists, are they?
Paul Scholes is on 55, David Beckham's on 80.
So Paul Scholes has only got 55 assists. I've never seen a better footballer
in the Premier League.
I have never seen a better midfield player playing with better players. By the way, he's playing in them teams because he was a midfield player.
Scholes wasn't supposed to get assists in that team. He was never the player to be like the last man in the final third. Scholes always playing deeper and probably spreading it out to the other players like Beckham's. Yes, he was the Beckhams, the Rooney's, the players who were playing more advanced in the pitch. They were the ones who were getting the more assists. Scholes was playing a lot.
Scholes, who was an attacking midfield player more.
It's not all based on one attribute. It's not all based on one attribute, but you cannot.
To even mention assists for a midfield player like Bruno and compare him to Paul Scholes is blasphemy.
And no one's
because he's only got well you are because you're talking about how many assists he's got and how far behind Paul Scholes
is. What I'm saying is in this
list,
it's
embarrassing.
No, but what I'm saying is
he's got 13 Premier League titles.
Yeah, but look,
that's a stat for you. Or is it 11 he's got? 13 for Giggs.
Look at the players who are in that list, Ricky. Ryan Giggs, Wayne Rooney, David Beckham, Paul Scholes. You don't just get in these lists with top players by being a rubbish player. You say Bruno's rubbish every week. He's in the list of Premier League players with most goal contributions, with Mo Salah, Son, like these players. He doesn't end up in these lists by being a rubbish player. You just don't.
You have, and you know what? You have
no other rubbish players in any of these lists.
You kind of just said it yourself there. You said that Paul Scholes, he only got 55. Premier League assists in one of the best Manchester United teams that we've probably seen in our lifetime.
Should tell you.
So yeah, but is it not more impressive that Bruno at this point in what Amorim has said is the worst Manchester United team in history is actually doing that and putting in them numbers? Or can you not kind of see through that?
Would be better if he passed it more simple all the time and the team would play better like those teams did, like Scholes. It's give it, get it, give it, get it, take it back, give it, move the ball around. I'll teach you this, Mords, when I come and watch it next week. Going to watch Mords play in a couple of weeks. Get it and give it, get it and give it, get it and give it. Keep the ball moving. Don't be the player. It's happened to 2 or 3. I've not watched that. I can't wait to watch that game back, what he got raved about the other night. To me, numerous occasions he's giving the difficult ball when there's simple balls on. Don't worry about who's getting the assists. Keep it simple. Beckham wasn't concerned if he got the assists or Scholes. Look at the trophies they won, the amount of goals that the team scored.
Look at the teams that they're in.
Yeah, but there's no particular individual getting all the assists. If I think what you might be inferring here is that if Bruno would have played in that team that Scholes played in for about, by the way, he's got 11 Premier League titles, Scholes, and he didn't win it every year. He probably played about 16 seasons. Think about what I'm saying here. He probably played 15 or 16 seasons and he's only got 4 or 5 assists more than Bruno. It's pathetic. It's irrelevant.
Yeah, but
it's irrelevant. 15 or 16 seasons and he's got nearly as many assists already.
Yeah, but look at the players
and we're 15th in the table. Fucking grow up.
Look at the players that he's playing with, though. All the other players on the pitch are miles better. So you've got better players that are contributing.
And they're all sharing the ball around.
In a team of players that aren't very good.
The team would be better if he shared the ball around more and give the easy ball instead of trying the hero ball. And it's no wonder he gets so many assists because he's trying to get them. He's trying to get him. He needs to stop that and keep the ball moving around the team and keep the pressure on.
How are we ever going to score? Right, no logic in football.
Well, tell me how they did. Well, when Scholes kept it so simple and Beckham kept it so simple nearly all the time, and yet they've got only them. They both got roughly the same amount of assists as Bruno. All they used to do was keep it simple and move the ball around.
Beckham kept it simple.
Yeah.
He's one of the best passers I've ever seen in world football, but he used to play what you would class as a Bruno Hollywood pass. Beckham would spray passes.
He could spray the ball about. But in general, it's about keeping hold of the ball and keeping the pressure on the opposition and waiting for the right moment. And that's how to play.
I get that, but...
That's how to play.
It's like final losing battle.
No, but also, another point on that though. When you're playing with other players who can also do what you can do and probably do a bit more, because Scholes and Beckham, they were great players, but they were also around other great players. Everyone in that team, you probably couldn't even put a pinpoint on who the best player was in those teams. There was 4 or 5 players who could probably do the same thing. Same with like a Rooney and the Giggs, etc. with Bruno, you couldn't put 4 or 5 players that can do what Bruno does. So for me, when I look at this United team,
if we had 4 or 5 more players playing like Bruno, we'd be in the second division.
No, but I'm saying that's
we
ridiculous.
would, because you can't keep giving the ball. And he's not doing it as much just recently.
Eriksen gave the ball away.
Shocking today, big deal. Shocking today. Shocking today, big deal. Big deal is shocking today. But Bruno has been shocking for us for years. He's playing a bit better recently. He's not doing it as much. But most of these stats that you're bringing up are from games and seasons where he's trying to play the Hollywood ball all the time, and it comes off more often for him because he tries. I know that sounds mad and it's obvious, but that's why he gives it away so much, because he tries it so much.
So you're saying players that give away the ball a lot are not good players? Because that's not true.
Look, it's just better if you don't give the ball away.
I'm sorry, if I looked at the top 10 players who give away the ball away the most, it'll be De Bruyne, Trent, Son, Saka, Salah, all the players who try to be creative in their team. They're the players who lose the ball the most.
They're gonna, because they're gonna try. I would say, to me, to an extent, Bruno sees things that other players don't see, and listen, I know you're giving me that face. I know that your midfield, the one that you want, is this team of, I don't know, a Matic, a Mata. These people are going to keep it simple.
When we used to finish in the top 5 all the time.
Right, but we had a bit of a better team then than what we do at the minute. So
without them making any chances.
Why did Amorim say last week that we need more Brunos in the team?
Because he's an idiot.
He's not an idiot. He wants players. Listen... People didn't see.
Well, where we are in the table, Kev.
Did you applaud Bruno's what he said after the game?
Yes, I did, very much so.
Yeah,
I thought it was brilliant.
Because he asked a good question, didn't he? He said, "What do you make of the criticism that Roy Keane's asked?" And he answered it very, very well. But one thing you can say, he's been good for United. I know you can say he's give away the ball, but sometimes I just look at moments and I think, you could have this midfield that was functional, but passing left, passing right. We had that under Louis van Gaal. There was people falling asleep at Old Trafford. The football was that shit. We were watching it and going, this is boring. There's nothing in the final third. Bruno is that person. I still believe you need to get the midfield blend right.
We're a better team under Van.
We were a better team.
I love Ugarte back in that team this evening, because I think moving forward he's like a mainstay. I'm still not 100% about Bruno being. I'd prefer him being the number 10, but
I prefer him deeper.
I think he makes things happen, and I think sometimes you have to compensate for the fact. Yes, he might hit a ball, and I know it drives you insane where you'd say keep it simple. But I just think you can compensate for that for the goals and assists that are coming his way at the minute. But I don't think we're ever going to agree.
Would you agree that as a team, for at least 4 seasons, we are not scoring enough goals? Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah, that's easy to say that.
We need to change it, Kev. We need to change the way we try to score. That we need to change the way we try to play.
That's not just one player. It's on 11 players in the team.
Bruno's the main instigator. I saw an instance last week. I've not managed to watch the game back, but I saw it. And I've seen it many, many times before, similar situations where this was against Sociedad, and the reason it was more frustrating is because it was either before we were leading, or certainly before they had only 10 men and the game was in the balance. We had the ball on the edge of the penalty area. Bruno's got the ball on the edge, just inside the corner. Dorgu overlaps him and he's clean in, and he's just got to roll it in front of Dorgu, and he crosses it himself and it gets headed away. I've seen him do it 1,000 times. He needs to stop trying to be the creative player. It's more creative if you put that full-back in behind or that winger in behind than you try to put the ball in the box. I haven't had time to watch it, but I reckon he did it 5 times.
Isn't everyone guilty of that?
I reckon
yes.
I reckon everyone. He did it. Not all the time.
Garnacho against Tottenham, how many times did Dorgu overlap? He never played him in once, 4 or 5 times.
Oh yeah, Garnacho, yeah, but
I'm just saying, but in that final third,
the 11 players in the team need to do it better, because I've seen Xerxes do that. I've seen Garnacho do that multiple times. Like, so many players in our team don't always play the right pass.
Bruno's been doing it before these players were playing for us that you're mentioning.
But each player has pros and cons. Every single player. It's like, do you take the good with the bad? It's like Trent Alexander-Arnold is probably. I mean, everyone's got a different taste, but a lot of people would say he's the best full-back in Europe, best right-back in Europe. His defending isn't that great. And that's mad to say for a fullback.
I'm going to say offensively.
But what you get offensively and what he provides for you deal with that, and the rest of the team sort of compensates and covers it up. You've got to accentuate a player's strengths versus a player's weaknesses. Bruno has weaknesses. He gives the ball away in stupid areas sometimes. Everybody knows that. But what he gives you output-wise is worth that, and the rest of the team, do have to compensate that. Just how he compensates for other members of his team.
It's only worth it, Beth, if you.
But the team around him isn't good enough.
We've got to be higher. We've got to be higher in the table.
The team around him's got to be better.
Of course it has. Of course it has. But he's been the one constant for about 5 years. We've been getting worse and worse and worse.
All Manchester United's recruitment team has been poor, and our recruitment has been terrible for the last.
If you're going to read something out more, don't read about how many stats he has.
This is from a player. This is from a player. Yeah, this is from Kevin De Bruyne. Who we are?
I'm not interested.
Do you rate Kevin De Bruyne?
I think he's a great player.
Do you rate Kevin De Bruyne?
I've heard him say. You're going to say that Kevin De Bruyne said he's a great player and you worry about him.
No. Kevin De Bruyne said, I think pass completion is one of the most wasteful stats for a player like me. Maybe for defensive midfielders, but it's not important for a player like me. I can have a 96% pass completion and I can play sideways and backwards, but that means I wasn't dangerous for the whole game. It means I've done nothing, so what's the point of it? That's literally the argument for Bruno. If he just plays sideways and backwards, he would have been useless for United. So a player like De Bruyne is pretty much saying, look, if you want to be dangerous in the game, there's no point having a high pass completion because that means you're not really.
I think it's all right having that in a team, but you usually have one of them.
Unbelievable quality.
Well,
that's why I'm.
Roy Keane was that for United then, wasn't he? If you're talking about Keane and Scholes was one that made things happen and drove from that midfield, whereas Roy Keane was the one that you would probably say, give it easy, left and right. He's box to box. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. If you've got that blend right, but Bruno's never really. Who's been the best combination in that midfield? It's changed that often. That's why I'm thinking once Ugate's in there, he could be the mainstay in there.
Well, let's move on. Bruno did have an 85.
Bruno's playing well at the minute. Let's hope he can continue, and let's hope he can keep scoring goals against some of the better teams, by the way, and making chances, but also cutting out the stupid times that he tries to put the ball in the box when he should pass the simple ball.
And if you have just joined us on the United stand, we won 3-0 this evening, believe it or not.
That's another thing about him. He does turn up in big games.
What a load of bollocks, Beth.
He does turn up in big games.
What an absolute load of bollocks.
Have you seen his stats against the top six? He does turn up in big games.
It's ridiculous, Beth.
He literally turned up in the FA Cup final against City.
He did in one, but not in the other.
He scored in both.
One was a pen. Big time.
Yeah,
Ricky, this is getting deep.
Come on.
Right, anyway, let's
Liverpool,
Arsenal, that free kick against Arsenal literally last week.
When you talk about big games, every time you come to play in the Premier League, it's an important game. We've lost 3-0 here to Bournemouth, 3-0 to Spurs, who were only below us in the league. He wants to start turning up in the proper big games.
That's Bruno's fault.
It's not all Bruno's fault, of course it's not. It is a team game, it's not all his fault, but there's an absolute lot of bollocks spoken about turning up in big games. He has turned up in some big games, of course he has, but this applies to most players, by the way.
Yeah, and it doesn't help when half the team
People just want to eulogise about the players that they love, always turn up in big games.
I've got to bring the super chats in.
Have I ever said that he always turns up in big games? Who have I said that about?
No, but
you probably don't.
I've got
they're on the bench in the big games, Ricky. I've got to read some super chats out. Bruno had an 85% pass accuracy today, but apparently he gives it away a lot. We've got Mrs. Stone saying, stop creating goals, can't get over this. Jamie McLaren says, I've played professionally since 2014. Bruno takes a lot on his shoulders. He needs to look up and see the players. Beth, he doesn't show up in the big games. Viraj says, you know what has been the constant in the last 5 years? We're getting worse and worse. The Glazers, the mismanagement of funds, the poor recruitment. Bruno isn't the reason, Ricky. Axel of War says, Ricky sounds bitter, going to extremes to prove a point. Paulson says 16 goals, 15 assists this season for Bruno Fernandes. Keishan says, Ricky, the reason Beckham and Scholes could keep it simple is because they had other players around them that could get the goals and assists. If Bruno doesn't do it for the team, no one else in his team is capable of doing it. I think that's such a good point. Think about the strikers they're playing with. compared to what Bruno was playing with.
Yeah, we had a fantastic team when they were playing. They played.
Right, York, Andy Cole,
they played
Van
in
Nistelrooy,
numerous fantastic teams.
you know,
Played in numerous fantastic teams.
Mrs. Stone says, imagine Amorim telling Bruno to stop creating goals. Wavy Jones says, Bruno's a baller. Yes, but Ricky's also correct on Bruno. Anthony Tracy says, Roy Keane said talent is not enough. He knows. Everyone it's a big debate in the chat, so get your comments in. Class of 99 says Casemiro's better vision, IQ and better passing than Bruno. Adventures of Raj says Ricky once compared McTominay to Iniesta. Do you remember that? It was tongue in cheek.
Oh.
Ash says,
Thank God it was. I thought it was real then.
Last time I checked, goals and assists win games. Respect.
Clean sheets win leagues. Sir Alex Ferguson, you've quoted what Kevin De Bruyne said. Sir Alex Ferguson said goal scorers win games, defenders win leagues.
DJ John T says Bruno man of the match. Anders Stanson says Beckham and Scholes were Hollywood ball specialists. Paulson says someone give me what Ricky is having. Cat and Kurt Gaming says Ricky is spot on. Ronnie Dodds says been a good week, new stadium coming and 2 wins. Mrs. Stone says Rasmus should stop trying to score goals, give the ball around more, mate. Stop trying to score. Bruno's job is to create. DJ Trizzy says, Ricky, this is nowhere near the level of our 90s, early 2000s. GGMU says, did you love Louis van Gaal as well? He actually did. M. Parker says Scholes would have no one to give the ball to in this team. He was surrounded by stars, I'm convinced. I'm not reading the rest of that out. Parchi Sung says game is much harder and players are more skilled and athletic nowadays compared to when I played. Scholes would be like a McTominay in this era. And Mrs. Stone says, could you imagine United without Bruno? Class of 99 says just because Bruno has those stats, it doesn't mean he's nowhere near the league of a Scholes or Cantona. Let's be real, he's more of a stat merchant. And we also have Connor Roberts saying goals and assists don't matter now. Anti-Bruno agenda is mental. Dale says Bruno has always had the potential. He always seems to be under pressure when he plays, which disrupts this potential. Thank you everyone for your super chats. I will get more in as the show goes along. So many coming in. Such a topic that divides opinion, but that was the Bruno's that opened it with a bang. Opened the show with a bang. Anyway, let's move on to another player. This player we're absolutely hoping and praying is going to be okay, and that is Aiden Heaven. Ruben Amorim has said we have to evaluate during the week. He's a young kid and doesn't know how to explain what he's feeling. It's hard for us to know. He's a bit calm now, but we have to assess in the week. Basically saying that Aiden Heaven was very worried when he got injured and he couldn't really describe what had actually happened with his injury, which doesn't sound too good. Got stretchered off. I am worried about him because, one, for his own sake, imagine getting your opportunity at that age, coming into the team and literally not putting a foot wrong and being fantastic, and this is your time now and it gets taken away from you. He will come back and there's obviously so much talent there, but also for our team, we are thin, we need centre backs, and he was performing at such a good level. I mean, Kev, £1 million for Aiden Heaven, apart from obviously the injury, which is so disappointing. In that first half, there was arguments for him being man of the match, really, wasn't there?
Yeah, well, I know Ricky don't like statistics, but I think statistically, did he touch the ball more than any other player on the pitch, I think, in the first half, which you could look into it however you want. I'm absolutely devastated for him. When you see a player like that, 18 years old, go down and you think, it doesn't look great. Obviously, you'd expect him to get back up, but when they stay down like that, you know a certain character of a player. If it's a Bruno that goes down, you think, come on, get up, all the shenanigans that go with it. But certain players and the makeup when he goes down, I'm thinking, oh God, this is not great. And obviously, he started his first game midweek. I was waxing lyrical about him on the forum after it. I compared him. I said, didn't I mention the Rio Ferdinand kind of thing, which all you boys were like, oh, he's gone there. What I was trying to say is, I said composure on the ball, and I seen that again today. Yeah. Little moments of where he looks well ahead of his time, running the ball out. He doesn't look, especially in the Premier League, which is fast, and you need to be strong. He's got them two attributes, but he's also got that kind of head on him where he looks years above what he actually is. It is frightening to think we spent £1.5 million on him, and That's one thing that this new regime has got right. When you look at a player like that, I think we've signed players in the past for 10 times that amount that are probably nowhere near as good as what, or potentially, even more and more and more,
50 times.
Yeah, sorry, I got my maths there, but not strong point maths, but yes, and I'm just devastated. It doesn't look great. You can imagine the news that comes out. I can't, I wouldn't be surprised to hear if we're not going to see him again this season. Again, it's speculation at this moment in time, but the last couple of games, even the first half today, I thought he just stood out big time.
Slight update on Aiden Heaven. Apparently, he walked out of the Leicester Stadium. His foot is in a brace, but he's walking. So
that's a good news.
Good thing, because I thought it looked like he broke his leg at first.
That is good news.
That is a good sign. I mean, this is just come up, and I don't want to reopen a can of worms. But Bruno's been interviewed after the game, and one of his quotes is, "I want to score many goals as I can, and it's a big part of my game, and I need to assist my teammates. I need to get onto the edge of the box and get goals, as it's one of my qualities."
Yeah.
So he wants
not bothered about them, are you?
He didn't say, "I really want to knock the ball around the park a bit more. That's what I want to do week in, week."
Just want to keep it simple, left and right, play it left and right.
But yeah, I mean, in the fact that Aiden Heaven came off, Ricky, Toby Collier then went to right wing back, and then eventually Harry Armas came on, just turned 18, it was his birthday. What did you make of some of the younger players getting a run out? Aiden Heaven, Toby Collier, Harry Armas. Are you liking what you're seeing from them?
I like Collier, yeah, from what I've seen of him. I thought he did well again today.
Especially out of position.
Yeah, didn't see a lot of Harry Armas today, but fingers crossed he's going to be okay there, left back. Who else came on? Obviously, gutted for Heaven. Who else was there? Young lads, did you mention anyone else then?
No, that was really it.
Bobby Martin come on, didn't he, towards the end?
Yeah, he did all right. Yeah, it's difficult to say. You're beating Leicester away 3-0. It's difficult to say who's playing well, even if they're scoring a goal or not. Do you know what I mean?
They're awful, Leicester. I was going to say that we should have put a disclaimer out, because there'll be rival fans watching, and they'll be like, they are really bad.
You say that, but they almost got a goal today.
They almost got a goal.
Yeah, but that's way bad.
They had a few good opportunities.
How bad must Ericsson be then, Ricky?
Shocking.
I actually think Ericsson's a quality footballer, but he had a shocking game today.
The worst game ever.
But Mordzs, what are your thoughts on the youngsters? Aiden Heaven as well, especially. I know you're a big fan of his. Harry Am.
Yeah.
Would say if, for example, the next game's tough because it's Nottingham Forest away at the City ground. It's going to be really tough. But say Aiden Heaven is still injured for that, because it looked like it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Maguire's still out. You've still got the squad to pick from there. Would you be against Harry Armas starting? What did you manage to get any sort of glimpse of him?
Well, he's going to have to, though, isn't he? I mean, when we looked at the team before for the build-up show, we literally had no other options.
Doggy will be back, actually.
Doggy will be back.
How many games has he missed now through suspension?
That should be
Has he missed 3 now?
So he's back for the next one.
So, I mean, Harry Armas he probably gets some minutes, because when we did the show this morning, we had no other options but to pick the lineup that was started today, because obviously all the other defenders were pretty much out through injury or just couldn't play. So yeah, I think Harry Armas next game, it will be difficult to go to the City ground and start Harry Armas regardless. That's going to be a super difficult game, because they're on form as well. I think they just won 4-2 yesterday against someone. I can't remember who it was.
It was Brentford.
Brentford, yeah, which is a good result for them. I mean, you look at their attacking players as well. I mean, obviously Chris Wood is a striker, but you got Odor, you got Elanga, and then even their fullbacks with Olarina and they're super attacking talent. So it'll be a difficult game for someone like Harry Armas to kind of start in. I think if Dorgu is back, it'll be a good game for him, just because he's someone who can get up and down just as well. So I'm excited to kind of see Dorgu back in the team, to be fair, because I think we have missed him a lot. But anyway, back into the young players. I'm super devastated for Aiden Heaven. I mean, it's kind of just like, it just feels like the United thing to happen. Like, we get a good player in for cheap, and it's like he's actually making a name for himself early on. He's young, like you said. He's physical. He's strong. He's quick. He's everything that we actually needed right now. And then he's gone, just like that. And after one game, he's just gone probably for the rest of the season. Let's be honest. They're not going to want to rush him back, because he's so young. They're probably not going to want to rush him back into the team. So yeah, it's harsh, but.
Any left-footed defender we have are cursed. I mean, Alex Marman just said, sending love and best wishes to Aiden Heaven. Hope the injury isn't as serious as it first looked. Was looking so assured once again until that injury.
I was going to say, I think this is the way that Amorim, you look at the summer and the money, the finances, nothing really stacks up, and you think, where are we going to get money to sign players? this could be the future. You know, Amorim might have been forced into this now. And I know it doesn't seem long ago since, was it at the Emirates when we had all the kids on the bench and then everybody, you had this counter argument of don't start the kids because if he starts them, you know, everybody, if they don't perform, that we'll get on the backs and find that. And I'm like, yeah, but we won't, because you can understand the situation he's in. You know, if they go out there, if they perform, great. If they don't, you know, nobody's going to heap pressure on them or whatever. And that was the fascinating thing with Aiden Heaven was, again, you don't want to big him up too much, but at the same time, as a support, when you're watching him, you can't help but get sort of excited and think, by God, we just signed this kid for $1.5 million, and he actually looks like, he doesn't look out of place in that team, does he?
No, he looks really good, and like I said on the build-up show, I think being so calm and composed and comfortable and relaxed, putting on the shirt of United at that age, playing as a centre-back as well. I think he's the youngest defender that started a game for Manchester United in I can't remember how many years it is, but it's a long time.
In Europe, on it, midweek, that stat.
That calmness, it's so hard to find, and so comfortable on the ball as well. He looks really, really exciting, and I don't want to put too much pressure on him, but hope he gets back, gets fit. Also, it was Ipswich that Forest beat, not Brentford. Okay. Brentford played Bournemouth. Got that mixed up.
And younger players are, from a manager's point of view, it's a dream. You know, you're not bringing in a player like, let's say, a Di Maria or somebody like that you spent a load of money on. You're not going to change a player like that, are you? You know, personality-wise, you can't all of a sudden, right, I'm going to change your position, do this, that. They're going to have the ego, everything that comes with it, the baggage, which is where United's fallen down massively with a lot of players that we've signed. But when you've got young lads like Collier, Amas, whoever it's going to be, Chido, there's so many players, Aiden Heaven. When you've got a manager now that's just come through the door, and we're at this point of this transition of trying this new 3-4-3 formation, there's places up for grabs. And I'm sure that these kids, once, you know, they're a bit easier to program, aren't they? You know, if they're going to, if he's going to say to these kids, I want you to do this. You know, you're going to be a left wing back, a right wing back. This is the job I want you to do. Stick to that and do it. They will do it. Whereas these bigger names are a bit sort of come in, don't they, riding on the horse. And I've done it at Real Madrid. I've done this, that. You know, this is my game. You know, I'm not changing. So the kids today, like the class of '92, I'm not comparing it, thingy, but I'm just trying to say, Sir Alex Ferguson brought through the youth, Matt Busby did as well, and it's because you can sculpture these kids into the methods and the ways that you want to play the game.
Yeah, the Leicester fan that we had on the build-up show said literally the exact same thing. One of the problems that Leicester have had of recent years is that the players that they've had have been like not ex-Premier League players, but they're a bit older players, and the players, because of the big contracts that they've been given out and stuff like that, they haven't had that desire to go and win every single game. Whereas when they've had a younger team, or a team that's full of less experienced players, or players who might not have as big of a name, that's when they've actually had the better teams, and that's when they've actually performed a lot better. So it's similar to what United's going through right now. You kind of look at the younger players, the Euros, Aiden Heavens, the Colliers, even the Agates, the Mainus, the Amads, the Dorgus now. These are the players who, all of them are under the age of 23, and they all seem to be the ones that are fighting. And if, like you said, if Amorim and also Ineos, if they can actually get a mentality into the players to kind of want to fight and actually be the best team. Like, even though you are young, doesn't mean that you're too young to be the best team. It doesn't matter how old you are, you can be the best team and you got a team of 15-year-olds. You know what I mean? So, regardless of your age, go out on the pitch every day, go onto the training pitch every day, and try to be your best and try and, you know, help United to go back to.
You want the ones that are going to run through brick walls for you, don't you?
Well, it's interesting actually you've said that, because Ruben Amorim said, first of all, it's Amas's birthday, so it's a special day. They have to understand that they're so lucky to play for Man United. At the same moment, I have so much fun putting the young kids on to play. So basically stressing that you don't just get given a United debut, like you have to work incredibly hard for it, and you've got to, you can't take it for granted, and that's what needs instilling into these players.
How old's Amas?
He's just turned 18 today.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
I thought he looked about 13 when he come on. I was looking at him, I was like, whoa.
It's exciting, isn't it? Though, that, like, you know, when a player's around the age mark and he's getting first team minutes, it always is quite exciting.
Shows what the manager thinks of him as well. If he thinks they're ready, you know, he's not going to pick them if you don't think they're ready for it.
Jim's 91 says a great win, but Eriksson and Lindelof are absolutely finished. Yeah. Simply Red says Rasmus and Garnacho found their level, both need selling. Wow, well, I mean, Højlund and Ganracho, big goal droughts. The last time Garnacho actually scored in the Premier League was against Leicester, which says a lot. It was last year. And we know Rasmus Højlund has been struggling without a goal for a long time. Are you hopeful, anyone, that this is going to give them confidence to go on a scoring run now, or do you think that this is their level? Ricky,
What a question.
Ricky, you've been told off about Bruno and I'm staying quiet, aren't you? Well, be honest, it's fine.
I don't know if it's going to start them off. I don't know if it's going to spark them off on a goal rush. I don't know. I can't.
You hope so.
You're holding back, aren't you? You're holding back.
I just can't see it.
You're holding back.
I'd love to think that it is. I find it absolutely crazy that somebody like Højlund, what's he gone 20? It's reminiscent to Diego Forlan. You'll remember that one, Ricky, won't you? Old Trafford. I was there that night. He went 20 odd games without scoring, and the roof of Old Trafford erupted that night when he scored. I was saying this to you midweek, wasn't it?
Didn't Forlan go away and win the Golden Boot?
Yeah.
He won the European Golden Boot, didn't he?
I was saying it to you midweek,
Sure
wasn't
he
I?
did.
I said he went to Atletico Madrid, he couldn't stop scoring. Sometimes a certain club's just not a great fit for a player. With Højlund today, I just find it absolutely baffling that he's got 21 games without a goal. And when he picks up that ball, Bruno plays it through, it's a good ball, defender could have done better. But he sets off on that run, and then he did everything that I would have wanted him to do as a striker. The main thing was obviously score, but he gets his head up, looks, Dallow's trying to get up with him, he realises that Dallow's behind him, so he thinks instinctively, I'm going to have a shot here, and he finished like a striker who's scored in his last 20 games. You know, the confidence to do that. Confidence is the main thing. Bruno said that after the game regarding Højlund as well. He said that, you know, he hopes any striker will know that the longer you go not scoring, the harder it gets. But at the same time, I've always said Højlund needs to do so much more. Movement-wise this evening, there was bits of it there, but if you're being highly critical, there was other situations I looked at and thought could have got in front of his defender, you know, his positional play, but he took the goal brilliantly.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very, very good finish on his right foot, his weaker foot, but I think Leicester defending was terrible.
That's why it's hard to
On
gauge
both
this
goals,
evening. It
both
really
goals,
is, because
terrible
Leicester,
defending.
they're terrible.
And they give you all the time in the world, don't they? So
Didn't the commentator say that it's only our 10th win in the league and 5 of those wins are against the bottom 3? Half of our wins are against the teams in the bottom 3. Should be more than 5. We didn't manage to beat Ipswich away, did we?
Drew to them.
We need to play Leicester every week.
we do. I've got some good news for you, Ricky.
Go on.
Might cheer you up. Ruben Amorim said Luke Shaw will be back soon.
Did he really?
He did.
Why? What's
sue
he
me.
back for though? Like, what's we do?
We're
already
back
15.
for 90 minutes to get injured again.
Watch, he'll be back for the final. When we get to the Europa League final, he'll be back for that game. I promise.
We need him back to help us try to get to the Europa League final.
I think it's too late.
Now Aiden Heaven, if he's injured, we need a left-sided centre back badly.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Greasy Joypad says, we okay with Lamin Yamal as first team, but not Obi. Dennis G2000, I mean, Yamal.
Just call Yamal.
Oh, we didn't mention Obi, did we, when we were talking about the young players?
Yeah.
He looked sharp when he come on.
Obi.
Yeah,
he looked great.
Yeah.
You can't compare Obi to Yamal. Yamal's
No, not at all.
No, I'm talking about the super chat. Yamal's like an absolute generation. Probably going to go on to be the best player in the world
Probably is, right?
He nearly is already. He's like
at that age.
He's insane. But Obi does look promising. Not every player is different though. They've all got their own path. Dennis G2000 says, please get off Ricky's back. He's correct. Bruno gives the ball away too much. His passing is erratic. He's not the type of player to keep possession. I have a super chat in for you, Ricky, from Effie, saying, let Ricky answer this. Would Man United be in a better position in all competitions if Bruno was out for the season since September last year?
It's a great question, and I don't think there'd be much difference. We're out of the League Cup, we're out of the FA Cup, the Europa League. We haven't yet played anybody particularly good, have we? We'd probably still be in it. It's hard to say. But I went through his goals in the league, didn't I, the other week, and we've just moved up to 13th. I think we were 14th or 15th, and I think without Bruno, we'd have been 14th or 15th in the league. That's where I think we'd be.
Duran 10 says, Beckham played way less than Scholes and has similar amount of assists. Beckham was an output machine. He had 23 assists in 99. Bruno has similar stats to when we finished second. He's consistent. Ricky, argument ended. And having better players around you is always going to help. And
it's a right conundrum now. We need to take this up again, maybe after the show. It's a right conundrum.
We need to do
you
some
keep
research,
telling me
Ricky.
about how them great players were great. Where were the goals coming from? I mean, we've just said there. Think about that. Have a little think about it. Paul Scholes was an absolutely fantastic midfield player. He won 11 league titles. He was an attacking player. Bruno's nearly caught him up on assists. Think about it. How can I? So
that's why I'm trying to say.
In them teams though, we've scored a lot more goals. So where are the assists? Do you know what I mean? Who's got all the assists? Are they all shared about? Are they all shared about?
Do some research. Get your tickets for the show in Dublin.
I'll do some research before Dublin.
Oh God, I'm going to have to get the best in the business help me out with my side of the corner. I mean, imagine with a live audience trying to argue against us.
It's a shame it's not Christmas, because I always thought like the pantomime villain would be Ricky, everyone would be like, boo! Listen to me. Yeah, can't wait.
Tickets in the link in the description. Come and join us for that argument. But let's move on. Mordzs.
Yeah.
Ligt.
Yeah.
Looked like he was carrying a bit of an injury towards the end, made some crucial tackles, was guiding that back line. Still underrated, do you think?
Ooh. I don't think to United fans, no. I think a lot of United fans will look at him and say, you know what, I was going to say a bargain, but how much was he? About 25?
I think we paid about...
Kind of a double deal with Masraoui.
35 million. For the level that he's playing at, he's looking like a 60, 70 million pound centre-back. And to fair, look at the other centre-backs in the Premier League, they're probably costing that amount. I think he's a great player.
42 million. 42
million, I mean, it's decent. It's a decent amount of money. And I think the reason why a lot of people underrated him is because, I said this on another show before, for what the Ligt was supposed to be, it's kind of took him a long time to get to that point. He was obviously an amazing young talent at Ajax, 17, captaining the team to Champions League semi-finals. He obviously got his big moves to Juventus and Bayern Munich, and a lot of people would probably say he never really hit his height, his actual peak, where he's one of the best centre-backs in the world consistently for a number of years. But I feel like now at United, if we can actually progress, if we can progress, the Ligt will be the best centre-back in the league, 100%. He'll be on like Van Dijk's level if we can actually progress and be get a lot better. But
wow, that is a big compliment.
100%.
Wow.
I think he's got all the attributes that we need from him. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, I think he's got everything I need. And yeah, I think for United, like I said, for United fans, I don't think he's underrated. I think it's other fans that, he called him lightweight or something like that. Yeah, like it's other fan bases that kind of they try and like joke around him too much, but I feel like he's a real deal in my opinion.
One thing that summed up Ligt today, and we've seen him do it so many times before. I remember the one at Arsenal, was it Trossard was coming in for the tap-in, and he got across him and somehow cleared the ball, like literally on the line. He's done a similar kind of thing today when Jamie Vardy runs through, and Vardy goes to square that ball, and Ligt gets that challenge in, and he celebrated that as if like United had just scored a goal. And to a defender, that is as good as a striker scoring a goal, and he celebrated it like he just scored a goal. I love that about Ligt. That it's not being a passion merchant. It's just not like I've seen a few moments in the Carabao Cup today where a few challenges went in and they're trying to get the crowd going, and that it's like fair enough. You do your bit, but for me, Ligt, that little moment there was as good as scoring a goal as you can get for a defender, and it's not the first time. I think the last couple of games I've had him man of the match. So consistency-wise, I look at him and I just think he's getting better and better, and he's like the main sort of kingpin in the middle of that back three.
Absolutely, I agree with you there. I think he's just a warrior.
He is,
an absolute warrior.
How did Graham Souness say? Lightweight. He's the absolute opposite of it. Yeah. He's not slow. He is quick. He carries it well. He's an absolute beast, man. He's the opposite to lightweight. Heavyweight.
The only area I think Ligt could every player can improve, but the only area where I think maybe his weakness is sometimes passing it out from the back. But when you've got an Aiden Heaven next year, Sandro Martinez next year, and then a Masraoui next year, Lenny Yoro next year, who are good at that, like I think it covers up for that. So I think he's the perfect central centre back. That unit in the middle of the three. I'm liking him. We've got Rob Always United saying, told you we tonk them, Beth. You did say on the build-up show. Patrick Dorger in the chat saying, how long until Ricky starts to hate me as well? Dale Padeshu gifted 5 United Stand memberships. Thank you everyone for your chats coming in. Bruno scored a hat-trick in our biggest game of the season so far, by the way, on Thursday, says Callum Sins. Mahid says it's 2025. Football isn't the same as it was in 1679. You've been absolutely toasted, Ricky. Don't be horrible. Don't be horrible. Anyway, I mean, talking about the wing-backs, Dallo with a nice assist to Bruno today. Ricky playing on the right-hand side. Think there's a clear difference between Dallo on the left and on the right?
He's definitely better on the right. He definitely gives better delivery from the right-hand side than he does from the left-hand side. It's more natural, isn't it? Much more natural.
Was it a great assist or was it just a pass?
It was just a pass. Yeah, it was a good pass, but it was just a pass. Assists like Postecoglou says, you know what I mean? They're no big deal.
No, that one was a pass. That one was a pass, but Bruno's was an assist.
I'm going to start talking about them. I'm going to start calling them. The thing with assists, there's so many coincidences. There's so many coincidences, like the ball that Bruno put through for Højlund today. It was a good pass, but there's that defender that he went past. I don't know what he was doing. He seemed to put himself into a really funny sort of shape, and the ball went past him when it shouldn't have done. And then Højlund runs, so that's a coincidence. On another day, you know, that defender should really get it if he's any good, but it goes past him. It comes to Højlund. Højlund, who's not been able to hit a barn door, turns into prime Diego Maradona, beats a man and rams it in the far corner. As we've all already agreed, it's a fantastic finish. It's not that it's been set up with an easy tap in from. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. So there's two coincidences there. It's a coincidence that a defender doesn't cut it out who should, and then it's a coincidence that Højlund, who can't hit a barn door, rams it in the far corner. They're just coincidences. I'm going to start calling assists coincidences. How many coincidences has he got? You know what I mean?
What if it's a corner?
Well, that's a coincidence as well, really, isn't it? If you just put the ball in the box,
well,
nine times out of 10, you put the ball in the box, you don't score from a corner, do you?
There's all different types, because technically you could just technically what it is, it's the last person to pass the ball to you.
Yeah.
So you can look at goals in the archives of Messi, prime Messi at Barcelona, where Carlos Puyol on the edge of his box passes a ball 3 yards to Messi. Messi takes on 9 players, rounds the keeper and scores, and Puyol will get the assist for it. So you do look and think...
It's a joke.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but my thing is,
in that sense,
we only do that for players that we don't want to rate, because no one says to Messi, oh, what about all of Messi's assists? Why you not use that example for Messi? Because Messi's got a lot of assists as well.
No, but I'm saying...
We only use it for players that we don't want to rate.
This is what Postecoglou's talking about.
In the grand scheme, it's the last person who passes a ball to that play. If you pass a ball to Messi on the edge of his own box and he rounds 9 players the keeper and scores, it will go to Puyol as the assist.
He assisted him.
I know, but
why are we taking it away from players that we just don't want to give it to?
How has this become like the most interesting debate I've ever had on the United stand?
I think people love to
needs its own show.
They do it with penalties. You do it as well with penalties as well. You don't like to rate certain players with penalties when, like, you still have to put it in the back of the net.
You've still got to put it in the back of the net. You've still got to put it back in the net, and it's great when you've got a good penalty taker who you can trust. That's true. That's all true. But over 80% of penalties in the Premier League get scored. So let's call it 8 out of 10 get scored. Bruno's rating is over 9 out of 10. That's still not a massive difference. You know, he's scoring 1 more than the average out of 10. 1 more. Now, when you think about this as well, you talk about points and games won and all that. If you're gonna say he missed a pen, you don't know if it's going to be a pen. Like, he scored a pen against Brighton this season, and we still lost the game. So it doesn't matter that he scored. You didn't get any points for it. So you don't know which pen it is that you're going to miss. If you say he might have missed another one, he might have missed one that was an important one, but he might have missed one that didn't matter. He scored it, but it didn't matter. Let me finish, Beth. There's no point denying that a penalty gives a player a goal-scoring opportunity that other players are never going to get because they're not taking penalties. But nearly all penalty take, well, they do, that's the average, not nearly all. All penalty takers score 80-odd%, virtually all penalty takers score 80-odd%.
Good penalty takers,
yeah, because they're good penalty takers.
That's why.
But it's just a bonus. It's just a bonus.
But I think
you're all raving about him getting an hat-trick the other day, and he got a penalty. Is it Adingra? I think he got 3 pens in 1 game for Brighton. Is he a world-class player now because of that? He got an hat-trick of pens, didn't he? This season.
Did he?
Yeah. Someone Someone send this clip to The Apprentice and get this guy onto the pitch.
I used to take pens myself, all right, it was only amateur football, but I knew that it was a bonus. Look, when you're a striker, you want to score goals. You do want to score goals. And if I got a penalty in a game, especially a tight game, and I've scored that pen, I'm dead relieved. It's a weight of pressure off my shoulders. It's a weight of pressure off my shoulders because I've scored I've got a penalty, at least I'm on the score sheet. I'm dead relieved I'm on the score sheet. But I used to appreciate myself that you know, I'm dead lucky that we just happened to be the penalty taker and we got a pen and I took it and I scored it.
Yeah, but we mentioned that list earlier. You've got Rooney on there. How many of his penalties?
It applies to all penalty takers, but there's some players in the goal scoring lists who don't take penalties.
Yeah.
Andy Cole.
Yeah, Andy Cole.
Why? But they don't take penalties because they're not the designated penalty taker for their club. You've got to become the designated penalty taker for your club, and how do you do that? Be the best
By being
at penalties.
good. That's all true. That's all true.
That's what I'm saying.
But you can't deny that a person who's taking penalties has got an advantage over a person who's not taking penalties. Simple, isn't it?
But Bruno's technique is
I'm going to
insane.
watch Mordzs play in a couple of weeks. If I was playing as... If you've got a teammate, you're playing in midfield, Mordzs, I don't know how many goals you score. If you've got 10 goals and you've got your teammate next to you and he's got 20 goals, but 10 of his are penalties, are you thinking, oh, he's miles better than me, he's got 20 goals and I've only got 10? It's a joke.
He's a penalty kick taker. It's a penalty kick taker, so I've got to respect him.
Yeah, you've got to respect that. I agree, but it's just a bonus. I remember, I bet none of you have even heard of him. I remember Phil Neal playing for Liverpool when Liverpool had a great side. He probably won 7 league titles and 3 European Cups. He's a right full-back and he scored. He was the penalty taker for Liverpool.
Dennis Irwin at United.
Dennis, he only took a few, didn't he? He was around with 1 or 2 other penalty
Steve
takers.
Bruce, used to take penalties for United.
But Phil Neal scored 40-odd penalties for Liverpool. Nobody talks about him as a great player or a great goal scorer. He was a right full-back. He scored more penalties than Bruno, by the way, so far.
You've got to have the whole package. Anyway, let's move on.
And Mordzs, when Ricky comes to watch you play, do not listen to what he says. You just play your game, sunshine. he will coach your talent
I'll
out.
Keep quiet, Mordzs.
Mordzs will be keeping it simple. Left and right. Don't play them long balls.
Just to fill the viewers in, before we went live, while we were waiting for Goldfish to wrap up on the final score, Mordzs was watching some of his footage back when he goes to play football. Ricky was like, where'd you play? I'll come and watch you. And you were like, oh, I think you'd like it actually. I got on a goal and assist in my last game. And Ricky went, don't worry about that. He went, don't worry about
Overrated.
that. Don't worry about the goals.
I feel pressure that game. I won't feel pressure now when I'm playing.
Honestly, I don't think 0-0 games have a bigger fan than Ricky.
Did you read? Obviously you've seen that Marcus Rashford's back in the England squad.
Yes.
Did you hear or read Thomas Tuchel's remarks about him?
Yes, I did.
That how well he's doing working hard and how well he's doing against the ball. In other words, when the opposition have got the ball, which is what I'm banging on about. Thomas Tuchel didn't say a single thing about him. He never said a single thing about him as an attacking prowess or anything like that. He spoke about his work rate and basically that he's in team shape properly, which he is doing, by the way. You know, I've watched the Villa games and he's doing very well in that respect. Whenever he gets the ball, he's keeping it simple. Whenever he tries to dribble past 2 or 3 people, he loses it just like he always did.
Like Jadon Sancho.
I don't think he's playing any better apart from keeping it simple, working hard and getting behind the ball. And that's what Thomas Tuchel picks him on the strength of.
I'm hearing Chelsea fans now slagging Jadon Sancho off, saying that he keeps it too simple. And what's he all about? All he does is give easy balls.
I watched the Arsenal-Chelsea game today, and I thought Sancho was absolutely class.
Got brought off.
Absolutely class.
Really?
Yeah, he got brought off with 10 minutes.
I watched it as well.
Yeah, he's really smooth and sees the short passes. He played really good football. It was hard for them to get in the game. Arsenal dominated the game, but when Sancho did get the ball, he did well with the ball. He's just, he goes to take a man on. The man's got covered. He turns back. He gives it, but he gets it again in some really tight situations. He did really well, Sancho, today. And then I heard the commentator say, Neto looks like the man who's going to cause a problem. Neto had 2 shots from about 30 yards. You've got to start keeping it simple and moving the ball around. Sancho wouldn't have shot from them positions. The commentator thinks it's good. This is something we all talk about on air, or I've heard you lot talk about, how many shots you've had. Doesn't matter how many bleeding shots you've had, if they're from stupid positions, you need to stop it.
Yeah.
Go on, Ricky. New United Stand merchandise. We need keep it simple on a t-shirt. I like that.
Oh,
Keep
get
it
him
simple.
on
The
the
commentator
get him on the
actually picked
sidelines.
out the wrong player as the dangerous player because he's had 2 shots. Big deal.
Do you know what? I've got one here. I'm going to counter-argument this about this keep it simple thing then. Jack Grealish at Aston Villa. Big fish in a small pond, call it whatever you want. Stood out head and shoulders above everybody at Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Took players on, drove.
Didn't keep it simple.
No, well, the next point was then he would create chances, he'd take risks, if he lost the ball, whatever, he was encouraged to drive on. At Manchester City now, Pep Guardiola, and I speak to City fans all the time who says that they do not get what Jack Grealish brings, but he's obviously had that, not coached out of him, but he's been asked to do something very different where Pep's saying, we don't play this way. Well, you actually do keep it simple. Yet, you've got Manchester City fans who look and think £100 million for Jack Grealish, what the player he was at Aston Villa, why is he, what's he all about? They didn't want to spend £100 million on a player who's just going to pass the ball left and right and keep it simple, not run at defenders, not take risks.
Well, I've watched Jack Grealish play for City a few times, but not recently. He's not been playing recently, to be fair, but I have watched him. But when he first signed, I watched him. I thought he was absolutely class, Jack Grealish.
Do you think he was better at City or Villa?
You just said yourself about the other argument. He's playing with better players. He looks a better player playing for City for me.
You think he looks better at City?
They won the treble.
No, City won the treble. Doesn't mean every single player in the team is
They
better.
won the treble.
Can I just say, I really think your argument's got here, and I personally, overall, preferred Jack Grealish at Villa. I thought he was super exciting, but in that treble-winning season, Jack Grealish was fantastic for City. He was, and he was a big part of it. He started near enough every single important game. I've gone through it. He was.
What year did they win the treble?
2022.
But since then, he's kind of. But I think Jack Grealish's fall off isn't. He can't put it all down to Pep. I think he's got to look himself in the mirror. I don't think he's made the right decisions off the pitch. I think if you want to be the best of the best, you've got to
make sacrifices.
You've got to look after yourself in that right way.
You
I mean, this is going to turn into a completely different
I get what
conversation.
you're saying. I know we're talking about. I don't even want to talk about City that much. I don't know why we are talking about City right now, but I get what you're saying about how he played for City in that treble season. I thought he was great as well. Probably one of their top players. But if I'm comparing that to Villa, his best Villa season, I think as an individual player, he was a better individual player. As in, like, his attributes, what he was doing on the pitch was better than what he was doing at City. Yes, the team of Manchester City was a lot better, so it made Jack Grealish look 1,000 times better because they won every game. But I just think as a player, I have to look at both of them and not take what they won at the end of the season into consideration. I'll look at him at Villa and say that is a better player.
Different systems, different managers.
The point was,
yeah, I think it's a good point.
Yeah, that Grealish has gone to City and Pep is asking him to do something, but it's took massively away from his game and the player that he was at Aston Villa. He's totally different, basically. Maybe not as exciting.
Last thing I wanted to kind of round up the show on, because we are going into an international break. Gutted, absolutely gutted. Because it's bad of a season it's been for United. I've still got the Europa League to cling on to, so I'm still going.
Start winning games now.
We've gained a little bit of momentum, and it's just typical, isn't it, that once we've gained a bit of momentum, we're going into the international break. Do you think there's any chance we do back-to-back Premier League wins for the first time in over a year? Forest away at the City Ground next one.
I just want to win them 5 games to that guy on TikTok can get his hair cut. Day 155 of not getting
There's
the
a
hair
chance. There's a puncher's chance, isn't there?
No, Forest.
Forest are a really.
It's going to be difficult.
And it's a big get. It's still Man United coming to town. You know what I mean? If our team and our players were playing exactly all season like they've been playing, but they were playing for Aston Villa, say. And it's the exact same team, exact same manager, exact same performances, but they were playing for Aston Villa. If they go to Notts Forest are not going to be thinking, wow, we've got Aston Villa tonight. When Man United comes to town, they bang up for it, and we're crap. So it gives us
and Forest have got a lot.
Gives
to
them a
play
double
for.
chance.
Forest have got a lot to play for as well. Every
Champions
game's a big
League football.
game, so they're thinking every game's got to be a big game.
Subplot, you've got Elanga trying to prove a point. He'll want to go out there.
Afterwards. Every game's a cup final for them. I want them to get Champions League, but obviously I'd rather United win. But it's like I do want them to get Champions League.
Take a draw.
But I just wanted to bring this point in towards the end because obviously, you know, Ineos have had a lot of stick, and the whole ownership has had a lot of stick for certain things. But one thing that I was thinking about today when I was watching the game, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to get carried away because our position in the Premier League is not good enough, our performances are not good enough. But when you look at our transfer windows, you look Lenny Yoro, Ugarte, De Ligt, Xerxes, Dorgu, Mazraoui and Aiden Heaven, all of them players look ready to play within the first team, and you know, the in and around it. You look at past transfer windows of you've got the Rasmus Højlund, the Mason Mount, the Andre Nana, the Amrabat, Binder, Johnny Evans on that one. Before that, Casemiro, Lissandro Martinez, Anthony, Malacia, and you look at the fees that we've paid and the personnel. We are transitioning, and don't get me wrong, we need to always be striving for better players. But the players we're actually bringing in, we're bringing them in for a purpose in the squad. Like, do you remember when Erik ten Hag had Mason Mount and Anthony and they're both on the bench every week? Like, it's like, why have you brought them in? So it looks like we actually are going in a direction where players we're bringing in are here for a purpose and here to go on a journey on the project with Ruben Amorim, and we're not overpaying and giving overinflated wages. So I think that's a positive that we can kind of land on, because I know the January transfer window got a lot of stick in the fact that we didn't do enough. But Dorgu and Aiden Heaven actually do look like good signings, and we should have done more, don't get me wrong, but I feel like we're going along the right track, and summer's going to be very, very interesting, to say the least, on what we do there. Huge, but I just wanted to kind of bring that in. Niall said Ricky must have seen FC 25 game of Sancho by accident. Shenanigan says, Ricky sees football like the Simpsons football meme. Mazraoui says, Ricky, lower your voice when you're speaking to my handsome king, Kev, or else I will send you to the Man City fans forum. Final warning. Love you, Kev. Thank you, everyone, for your super chats coming in. It's been a cracking forum. Love it when we have...
You wouldn't have thought we won 3-0 the way that started.
No, but I just love the debates.
Yeah,
and I love it when everyone's like kind of going at it, and you've got real like football opinion just coming to a head, and so many different comments in the chat. Last but not least, let's do our man of the match. Kev, man of the match.
Bruno.
Didn't realise you were called. I didn't realise.
I just thought I'd jump in with that one straight away. He played quite well as getting a goal and the assist.
2 assists, 1 goal.
Yeah.
I think he's got to be there. I know Ricky's giving me eyes at the side of me.
No, it's got to be Bruno. There's not hardly anybody else.
If Aiden Heaven had it's all hearsay, isn't it? I thought he was well on track again to being, up there. Thought De Ligt was good. Ugarte decent, but yeah, the man that made the difference stood out. I'll go with Bruno. Is that all right, Ricky?
Yeah.
Mordzs?
Yeah, I'll give it Bruno. To be fair, that first half was Aiden Heaven's half, though. He was definitely the man of the match in the first half, but obviously it's unfortunate he got injured. So yeah, I'll say Bruno as well.
Ricky?
Yeah, I've gone Bruno. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought he was going to come out with Lindelof or something.
Lindelof
I was waiting for that.
He didn't even mention that. He had a shocker as well.
Yeah, him and
Ericsson.
That's not going under the radar, Ricky. They both had
Terrible
shockers.
games.
I'd also go with Bruno. Magic moment?
I'd like to say, I was going to say the De Ligt kind of block.
Yeah.
But on a more positive note, I just think that Bruno finish.
I was going to say the Højlund one, because it was just like,
Yeah,
felt like it was
that's
like
a
a
good
release
one.
after so long.
Yeah, I suppose. We've seen Bruno do that loads of times, haven't we, this season? You think the FA Cup on the... Look at Ricky looking at me. It's like, he leans forward like some kind of father who's just like dead disappointed. He's like, what are you saying? Nobody can see that on camera. Yeah, even the one against Arsenal, that Bruno scored. I said to you at the time, didn't I? That's the one player you'd want in that position on the edge of the box. He's hit it sweetly, but I'll stick with the Bruno goal. I think I like the Højlund one though as well.
No, I'm going with the De Ligt. That De Ligt tackle was too good. I didn't even see him come in. It was a great tackle. And Leicester ain't scored in like 20-something games, or like, how many games have been? Like 24 games at home?
Since December.
I wanted to keep that record. I wanted to keep that record, so yeah.
I think when your centre forward's not scored for 22 games, I've got to go for the Højlund goal.
Yeah, I would go with
Great
that.
finish that one.
Hopefully more to come. We need to start doing it more regularly. Hit a like on the video if you've not already. Get your comments in down below. I had more topics we didn't even get through. We'll have to do more shows in the international break coming to you. And link in the description as well. I think there's a few tickets left still for the Dublin live show. It's on Wednesday night, so make sure you get them. It's going to be cracking. Make sure you come and join us. But thank you for watching all. Kev, thank you. Mordzs,
Thank you very much.
Thanks. And Ricky Absolute box office as per usual. We loved it. Great way to send off.
No Ricky, no party, eh?
Exactly.
That's what they say.
Exactly.
Is this the last show before the last show then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the last forum before then. But look, thank you everyone for watching and enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will see you on the next one.